Hello friends, and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Last episode, we got all of the empowering mods set up, which you can see behind me. It is now auto crafting, so that we can create all of those gems and jewels that we are going to need for today's episode, where we're building a bunch of nether models for our loot fabrication chamber, so that we can get all of those wonderful things like blaze powder and whatnot that we need to progress through the rest of the pack. So, with no further ado, let's dive right in. Well, maybe just a little further ado. Between episodes, I used that same methodology that I used from the empowering mod to be able to automate our arc furnace in a way that wouldn't jam up the works so much. So I went ahead and put a barrel onto our pattern provider for our various recipes here. But each of these recipes requires each ingredient to be in a specific slot. So for Enderium, for instance, we really need the lead to be in the first slot, the platinum and the ender pearl have to go in the second slot. Similarly, for our processing pattern for bronze, copper goes in the first slot, tin goes in the second, and so forth and so on all the way down these. So our logistical sorter here is doing all of the work. The recipe ingredients are getting pushed into that barrel from the pattern provider, and then the barrel then inserts into this logistical sorter. Now, the black items here, that always goes into the first slot, while green goes into the second. Thankfully, the recipes are not conflicted in this pack, by which I mean copper always goes in the first slot for everything that I've seen so far, and then its secondary ingredient, the zinc, the tin, whatever, that goes in the second slot. So we can always put that into the black slot, which is the first one. That makes it really nice. If there were a conflict, what we'd have to do is set up a whole separate arc furnace, and that one would just have to get just that recipe, and then we would reverse the order. The other automation that I did is add crafting cards to all of our infusing factories. So you can see these are all full up on their respective items. And now each of these only uses a single item. So this one only does redstone enriching. This one only does diamond. This only does refined obsidian, gold, and carbon respectively. So whenever we put a recipe into here, you can see that the insert recipe only uses the main ingredient. It doesn't even reference the second ingredient. It was just too difficult to manage those chemicals and how much was going in at a time. But this methodology works really, really well. That removes some of the weird bottlenecks that I was encountering when trying to do auto crafting. At the end of last episode, we had unlocked the Nether data model that we're going to use to make these various data models down here. So we've got Ghast, Blaze, Magma Cube, and Wither. That's on the horizon for us so that we can get to our debris, and that's how we're going to get the automated netherite, is through this chain. So to get there, first things first, we needed to make nether planks. Now, I went into the nether and set up some automated cloches so that we could grow our warped stem and our crimson stem. I don't think we need both of them, but I went ahead and did it for completion's sake. I did that off camera because I kept catching on fire, and that's been extremely problematic for us. It's in the same chunk as we have our other nether mining. If I went there right now, I would catch on fire. I'm not going to do that. I died many times. I'm not saying that I have a whole bunch of trauma from this, but it wasn't a fun time, friends. All right, so now what we need to do is do two things. We need to be able to create a recipe so that we can craft those into planks. So let's go ahead and just start with one of them. I'm going to do the crimson planks to start, just like this. And we will teach this recipe to our pattern encoder, and then we will put that into our automated crafter somewhere in here where we've got an open slot. There we go, molecular assembler. We'll put it right there. Now we can make crimson planks. Now we need to remember that because we are going to go ahead and, we need to go back and get ourselves one of our pattern providers, not the extended one. We haven't unlocked everything we need for that yet, but we'll do a regular pattern provider, just like this. That'll only take a second. There we go. Now we can take that and we can actually add the recipe here for this lava planks. So let's go ahead and add that recipe real quick, including the lava, because lava is now infinite in our system. As we've learned before, we have an infinite lava cell, so we have as much lava as we could ever need right here. That's just going to pump out lava whenever we request it. So let's go down here and set up another pattern provider, and we will put our fluid injector onto this right here. So now we should be able to connect this up with a Fluix cable and go ahead and put our pattern right in here. That should work just like that. And now we should be able to auto craft those planks. So I think to actually get credit here, we first just have to make up the regular planks. Let's do that real quick. So let's find our planks here. There we go. Let's just go ahead and do just 4. Easy enough. That only takes a second. We get credit for that. There we go. And now we should be able to make up our lava planks. Let's go ahead and make up 4 of those as well. And we did need to put an import bus onto the top of our fluid injector. It wasn't pushing out to the pattern provider for some reason, but now that is working for us. And that means we should be able to get our lava planks back out here. Indeed we can, that's great. Which means the next recipe here is to make blazing sawdust. That's real easy because we can once again do this in our automated system. All we have to do is teach it to our crafter here. Let's go ahead and add this like that. There we go. We'll go ahead and drop our extra lava planks back into our system. And now in our advanced crushing factory here, we can add that recipe. Now it knows how to make blazing sawdust. So let's go ahead and make some of that. And this time, let's go ahead and make up a little extra. Why not? Let's make 8 this time. And that will now auto-craft hopefully everything in the system that we are requesting. So there's the first 4 automatically being crafted for us. And in just a few short seconds, there you go. The rest of that blazing sawdust is slowly going to come in as it comes out of the infuser. Perfect. All right. So that's all going through nicely. Now we need to actually make our blaze powder, which in this case, we can do only through empowerment to be able to get to the first bit of blaze powder. So this is another recipe we are going to need to teach. So let's do that real quick. Blaze powder. This one we're going to do temporarily because we're going to replace this with a loot fabricator instead when we actually get to it. So let's teach this to our empower. And we also have gunpowder auto crafting. If you don't remember, gunpowder is just made with crushing of our flint, and we have all the flint that we could ever need. So that's going to be real easy for us. So now we should then be able to make this up. So let's go to blaze powder and let's go ahead and make ourselves, I don't know, what do you say? 9 pieces to start, just like this. All right, our first one is already done. Let's go ahead and claim credit for that. And now it looks like we're going to need a crate of blaze powder. So that's what I was saying. We need to make 9 of it. That's what we're going to get there. But I think it's actually going to be twice that. Yeah, we need 18 of our blaze powder to be able to move forward here. So we'll wait for the first 9 to be done, and then we can move on to that. We're also going to need to make some blazing slime. And for that, we are going to need a slime block. Now, I can't remember how we get slime in this pack, but I thought it was relatively straightforward. Ah, yes, we can use clay to make slime in our metallurgic infuser with biomass. That is a fascinating recipe here. Maybe instead we manually make this in our enrichment chamber. So let's go ahead and grab up some biomass. I'm just going to grab, I don't know, a stack for now. And we'll grab up a bunch of clay as well here. Again, we have infinite clay because we have the clay storage cell. And then from that, we can go ahead and make up all of those pieces of slime that we need. So we just need to find an open enrichment chamber. This one will probably, we need the infusing chamber. Yeah, that one. Let's go ahead and put our biofuel in here. And then we will put our clay in here. And we should get a suitable number of slime balls back out, at least until we run out. All right, so 32 slime balls later, we are looking pretty good here. So now we can teach this to make our blazing slime block. That actually means that we are going to need 8 more pieces of blaze here. We will teach this also to the empower. Actually, if we only need 2 pieces of it, I don't know if it's worth teaching it. We can probably just do this one manually here. So let's go ahead and make up our 2 slime blocks. So slime. And we will make up the blocks right here, 1 and 2. And then we'll take our 8 pieces of blaze, in this case 9, and we will make up that block. Now, while we are doing that, let's go ahead and make sure that we are requesting the 17 more pieces of blaze that we are going to need for our crates of blaze. All right, so we'll go ahead and make this manually. It's not worth automating at this point because we have other ways that we can better get this slime in the future here, but I don't think we're gonna need this after the first one. So let's go ahead and make this. There's the first block of blazing slime. Let's go ahead and make another block of blazing slime real fast here. This really reminds me of mystical agriculture, I have to admit, the way that this is set up. I mean, I also know this works similar to the power mod too, but I just think that this is really neat as a mechanic to have the items sitting around on the pedestals and everything. I just really like it. All right, So that will give us our blazing slime block. Our regular blaze powder is now done, so we can craft this up into 2 crates of our blazing blaze powder. Blazing blaze powder? Yeah, we're gonna go with that. All right. And the only other thing that we need to make here is a wither skeleton bone. So for that, we should probably go ahead and make another mob infuser, and then we have to take that over to the Nether with some bones and some Nether data models. This is really expensive because these Nether data models require 6 ultimate Technium each. Once again, this is a recipe, I just hate it. I just hate it. And 2, and I went ahead and made up a bunch more diamond gears too while I was at it because I had to unblock the system. It was being weird and wonky. That happens from time to time. Okay, there's our mob infuser. And again, so since we're making our wither bones here, we are gonna need to take ourselves some power with us, but I think we can just plug it into the nuclear reactor we already have in the Nether. Before we go to the Nether, let's go ahead and grab up one of our heat protection curios here so that we can put that on us so we don't catch on fire immediately as soon as we drop in. Let's go to our Nether fortress. Here is our base where we had been working on things, and here you can see these are the cloaches that I set up. Same way we do cloaches everywhere else. Wart fungus is in there, and all of our various ingredients are coming back out. Wonderful. All right, so let's go ahead and throw our mob infuser onto here. We will drop in our bones, we will drop in our Nether data model, and momentarily this should then make these up for us. Oh, the good news is that these Nether data models are not consumed. They're just used in the recipe. So back to our lab with all of our ingredients in hand. I think we are about ready to start doing our crafting. So first things first, let's do our blaze data model. So here we go, blaze data model. We just need some ultimate Technium. There we go, that's 1. Next up, we will do our wither data model. Let's see here, where's that at? We want wither skeleton, not wither. There we go, that's that. We need to do the magma cube next. Magma cube. And again, very simple for us, got that going. And the only thing that's missing now is ghast. And for that, we're gonna need double crates of gunpowder. So that means we need, let's see, 9 times 9 gives us 81, and 81 times 2 is 162. So let's see here, gunpowder. We've got 33 here. So that means we need 130, 129, 100. Let's do 132 just to be safe. We can certainly use it in the future, so we're going to do this real fast. And we are going to need to make up a bunch of these crates. Okay, great. There are 18 crates of gunpowder. With that, we make our double compressed crates of gunpowder. Perfect, we have that done. And now we should be able to make our ghast model as well. 1 ghast data model coming right up. Perfect, okay. And that's all 4 of our models that we need to make. Now, over here, we had built a massive array of our simulation chambers here just for making our ender pearls. And we now have, well, friends, a lot more ender pearls than we're actually probably going to need. 13,000 right now. All right, I think we have all of the predictions now that we need. There is our ghast. Here is our magma cube. If we hop over to the other side, we should be able then to pick up our blaze. And of course, we should then have our wither skeleton. So all 4 of those are now done for us. We can drop those into the additional row of drawers that we set here. So we'll put wither skeleton there. We will put ghast here, put magma cube there, and we'll put blaze here. Perfect. All right, so those 4 are now done. We do need to make our heat protection 3 curio out of our heat protection 2 curio using our generalized nether prediction. So let's go ahead and grab up 8 pieces of our generalized nether prediction there, and we will run all the way back down here to our crafting grid. So we combine that with our level 2 curio, and now we have a level 3 curio. That completes that quest for us. We do need to start automatically producing all of these various items here. Oh, including nether stars. fascinating. Oh, and it looks like our debris is made with all 4 of those items. So for this, we are going to need to make up a bunch more of our loot fabricators. We probably can repurpose one of those because it's currently being used only for those ender eyes that I mentioned, ender pearls. So this does mean that we need to make 4 more of these loot fabricators up. So let's go ahead and make up our redstone comparator. We need 4 of those. We are going to need our elite Technium frames. It looks like I've already got 5 in here that I'd made up previously for our miners and not used. So now we should be able to make up 4 of these. Okay, great. So now we have the loot fabricators. At this point, this whole system here is getting to be a bit of a mess. So I'm going to refactor this real quickly while I can by using the logistical sorter and again, color coding my pipes so that all of this works a little bit nicer than what we have right now. All right, our logistical sorter is now spitting out these various items into the different spots they need to go. We are, of course, round robining here so that we can double up on our various ender items here. So these are going to split so that we get both the simulation pearl and the regular ender eye. Now all we have to do is extend our network here of our pipes real fast, just like that. And we have exactly enough pipes. That is a miracle. So these should now go into the various spots that they need to go into as these are being sorted properly here. So we just need to wait a second for these to start to get those predictions to come in. Of course, this only works if you put it on the right block. I had it on the Enderman prediction drawer instead of on the storage drawer controller. This now has access to everything the storage drawer controller has access to. So each of these now should be getting items into their various slots here. So let's double check. Yeah, we are indeed getting rotten flesh in here, for instance. We are indeed getting the wither pieces in here. This one is interesting because I think we need the skulls to make our debris. No, we need the bones to make our debris, but to make nether stars, for the first thing that we need to do, we're going to need to be able to use wither skeleton skulls. So we probably, until we can actually make a wither, and that actually only needs nether stars. That should be really easy for us now that we have access to the boss data model. Let's go ahead and just make up 2 sets of our wither skeleton skulls real quick here. And we will reclaim those from the system. 1, 2. All right, and now we will set it to bones from here on out. Those will just stay in our inventory. All right, so back in the nether, we can go ahead and reuse our mob infuser again to make up those nether stars that we needed. So we put our nether data model in there, along with our wither skulls. It looks like that is running out of power here, so we might actually need to pull these out until this is absolutely full. All right, there are our 2 nether stars, and we need to get out of here as quickly as possible because I think I'm about to catch on fire again. Okay, now we are back here. So with these, we should be able to finally make that wither model. So we got credit for that. Let's go ahead and make up our wither model real fast here because I believe we have everything we need to make this. Where did our boss data model go? We definitely made one of those up. Ah, there we go. We never actually took it back out of the drawer after we crafted it in the first place. So many episodes ago. We can throw this in here, and now we should be able to make up our wither data model. Let's see here. Here we go. 1 wither data model coming right up. Perfect. Okay. So with that in hand, we can now auto-fabricate as many nether stars as we will ever need here. That should be real easy. Wither prediction gives us nothing but nether stars. So I'll probably go and make up another loot fabricator between episodes. Now, in the meantime, let's go ahead and teach our recipe to make debris to our empowerment station here. So debris, we need all 5 of these items here. This does pose one major complication for us. Our empowerment setup over there right now is only designed to be able to do 3 items at a time because I was being lazy about it. I need to go redo that whole setup so that it can do 5 items at a time. So let's do that real fast. All right, I think I've got that all set up properly. We will find out really quickly here though. Let's request 1 piece of debris. It looks like everything is available. Let's hit start on that. And I think honestly the planks are going to be the thing that takes the longest for this to do. Alright, so that should be the last of the ingredients slowly coming in there, and now we're getting some more lasering, and there we go. There's our debris sucked back into our system, so with any luck, it should have popped up right back over here as our first item. Yes, it did. That completes our debris quest. Now, to move forward with debris, we are going to need at least, it looks like 5 more pieces of it, and then we will be able to make our ancient infuser next. So, oh, and we're gonna need some netherite gears with that too. So let's go ahead and order ourselves up here more debris. So let's go ahead and add this to our shopping list, and I need to see if our debris is done. Yeah, all of our debris is now done. Okay, so that took a second. Everything should be cooked up here. Oh, except for our ultimate Technium machine frame. We can make one of those real quick. We have plenty of the individual nuggets. And there is our ancient infuser. All right, so back at our catalog, let's go ahead and buy up our ancient infuser placer. We're gonna need that. We'll put the rest of our tech bucks back here. And as we learned previously, if we hold Alt while hovering over this, we can see what we need. It looks like we need 9 more debris, 44 quartz glass, 67 reinforced machine casing, 9 beacons, and 25 super empowered crystal blocks. Okay, so the super empowered crystal blocks are probably going to be the thing that takes the longest here, because the ingredients, as we learned last episode of that, include a variety of things, including ultimate machine frames. So that's going to take me a little while to cook up. Okay, we're finally done. The super empowered crystal blocks, as I mentioned, took forever. Just too much of our Technium needed to make those. That was really annoying. I don't think we've even gotten our first Nether star from the Wither data model yet, because it just requires so much power. It ticks through basically like 500,000 FE per tick. It's ridiculous. So I actually made these out of our skeleton skulls again. That was just way faster for us. Let's go ahead and use that real quick and make up our 9 beacons. We'll do this and this. There we go. That is a ridiculous amount of beacons. And now we should have just about everything we need for the ancient infuser. We'll grab up our reinforced machine casing here. We will grab up our debris, and then all that's missing now is our quartz glass. Let's grab that up here. We have 2 pieces too many, so we'll drop those back here. Now, if I'm reading this properly, I suspect that, it looks like we can indeed place this in the overworld, I hope, but it does need antimatter to function in addition to lava. That's going to be annoying. Antimatter is not hard for us to come by, friends. It's only turning into the antimatter pellets that is extremely expensive and problematic. So we'll do that real quick here. All right, let's plunk this down. We've got power going in underneath, and it looks like that got built pretty easily here. And it looks like the only recipe that we have for it is going to be lava and antimatter to be able to make, hopefully, debris. I was about to go ahead and make this so that we're creating infinite amounts, but considering it's using antimatter, and antimatter is very, very expensive, we are not going to do that. Instead, we are going to use a pattern provider recipe here where we find this recipe from it. Let's see if we can grab this up. We'll grab this up, and then we'll add this. This should then give us the right recipe that we need here. If it'll let us encode the pattern, it looks like it won't. I think maybe we'll have to tell this that it's going to get netherite scrap back out, or excuse me, not netherite scrap. We're going to get debris back out. So let's go ahead and put this here. I don't know why that's not showing up in there, but we'll go ahead and try this and see if this works. I'm not sure that this will work, but we'll find out the hard way. Put the pattern provider here. We're going to go ahead and put the recipe in here. And now let's go ahead and run our Fluix cable over to our main system. All right, so if we request 1 from our system, something should happen here. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen, but if we go ahead and click on this block, we can see the antimatter is in there. That seems to have gotten it working. I needed to actually place a block of debris inside of it for it to work. That's not great. That's kind of annoying. But before I break this, I probably should consider whether or not I need to get some looting enchantment or something on my pickaxe here. All right, so great, there we got our netherite scrap from our ancient debris. That does mean that we need to figure out a way to automate this with a destruction plane or something else to make this work. But that does mean that we have completed this quest. Well, friends, that was a little bit of an anticlimactic end, just because I feel like we haven't really finished automating this particular ingredient, and it's very expensive for us to make that netherite. I'm gonna have to dig around and see if I can't come up with a better way to automate this and make it work a little bit smoother for us. But I'm gonna do that between episodes. For now, we're gonna call that the end of this episode. So thanks again for watching Enterprise Architecture, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends.